Hey, 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 hey. How y'all doing? How y'all doing? How y'all doing? Hey, time for story time, y'all. Had a couple of technical difficulties, but I am here. You know, when you're doing the show, you got the show must go on. Yes, yes. Let me know if you hear me okay. Let me know if you hear me okay, please. Sippin' tea with D, I see you, baby girl. I see you. Send me a request. I do see you. Ladies and gentlemen, I have a young lady tonight. I am so excited. I am so excited to talk with Sippin' Tea with D tonight. It is going to be amazing. Oh. Hey, hey, it's your time. Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you perfectly. Can you hear me good?
Yes, you sound amazing, baby girl.
You can hear me?
Yes, yes,
Okay,
yes.
awesome.
It is your time to shine tonight. I want to thank you for your patience. I had to get away. I had a young lady who had a birthday celebration. I looked up. I said, "Oh my God, it's 9 o'clock. I gotta go. I gotta go." I had to come into another room, and I'm multitasking tonight. I'm multitasking. I'm out and I'm multitasking. I said, "Oh, I'm gonna do both of these tonight." You know. But ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you what this is all about. This is story time, and you know, every time we do this, we have someone who not only shares their story, but they also share their mission and their purpose. And we like to give people the opportunity to do that because a lot of times when you see people out here, and tonight we're highlighting podcasters, and Sipping Tea with D is a podcaster that some of you may know and some of you may not know. So before we get started, I would love for you, D, to tell the people who is Sipping Tea with D, a little bit about how you came up with that name and who were you before you became Sipping Tea with D, where you're from, and a little bit about your background.
Okay, well, I am Sippin' Tea with D, also known as Deirdre Boswell. I hail from the city of brotherly love and sisterly affection, Philadelphia, PA. And Sippin' Tea with D, which is right here, is all about positivity. It's about uplifting and highlighting African American women who have been marginalized in the media, who have, you know, when you see us on a lot of reality shows, we're not put in the best light. And my focus and my purpose is to do simply that, to put us in the best light as possible, to share stories of trial and tribulation of women and how they were able to triumph and soar. So that is the purpose of my podcast. It started off as an audio podcast, and then it later kind of emerged into some other elements. I have Tea Time with Sippin' Tea with D, which is on IG every Tuesday, and then I have a Clubhouse room on Sundays as well. So for those of you that have the Clubhouse app. So I mean, Sippin' Tea with D, actually, back in 2013, I was one of the caretakers for my mom, who at the time was suddenly diagnosed with stage 4 uterine cancer. At that time, you know, my life was in a whirlwind. You know, my mother was just diagnosed out of nowhere. It literally just changed my entire family dynamic. And it was during this time, during the most trying and difficult time of my life, that God literally gave me this vision. This vision for a show. I didn't know what it was about. I didn't know what it was going to be, who it was for, but He gave me a vision for a show for women, and it took me about 7 years to actually really do something with it. I mean, He literally gave me the vision for the show, the logo, the colors of the logo. It was really, you know, one of those, you definitely know it was one of those God moments where He spoke to you, because there's no way, I wasn't even in that headspace at that time. You know, if anyone here has ever been a caretaker for someone that's battling a terminal illness or illness at all, you know how trying your days are. They never look the same. You're always back and forth. You don't know what's going on. So it was just interesting that at that time in my life, he literally spoke in my ear and gave me that word to have this show. So I made some weak attempts through the years. And it wasn't until 2020, at the onset of the pandemic, that God spoke to me again, and He said, "It is time." I'm not gonna lie, I tried to fight it. I tried to, I kept finding excuses as to not to do it. And every time I sat dormant, He whispered in my ear, like, "Get that logo done." And like I said, He'd already given me the logo. I sketched the logo out. I still have the same sheet of paper from 2013, where I originally sketched it.
Wow.
So I reached out to a friend of mine from college, and he got the logo done for me. Then the Lord said, "Okay, it's time to record." Now, I didn't know anything about podcasts. All I knew is that it was supposed to be a show, but because podcasts had become so popular, I thought that that would be the best way to go.
I just had to give her this message. All right. I was muted. You couldn't hear me, right?
No.
Okay. I wanted that. I had to, excuse me, I had to make sure. I'm in a restaurant and I wanted to tell them I thought about it. I said, Lord, I covered my food with a napkin. And that means you're done, and that means
Oh,
throw it
yes,
away.
they'll take
And
it up. They'll
I
pick
thought
it
about
up.
it. I was like, hold on, please tell them, don't throw away my phone. Don't throw. I
Yes,
just got it.
yes.
I just got it. So I apologize. So you know what, Dee? So let me tell you something. I'm a caregiver now. I'm a caregiver now for my sister.
Okay.
I've been a caregiver. This is my 4th time. My mom, 1995, with myeloma bone cancer.
Okay.
My brother, 2008, with liver cancer. My dad, 2013, with Alzheimer's and lung cancer. My sister now, who is in remission for having leukemia, 4-time form of cancer, 3 brain surgeries, a stroke, and now dementia.
Ooh.
So I understand.
Well, I'm definitely, sorry, because that's a heavy burden to carry. It's a heavy burden. And, you don't think about, I always say it's not a cliche that life can change in an instant, because it truly can. And when you're a caretaker, you're taking on so much, and oftentimes you don't even get a chance to deal with your own emotions, because you have to remain in a space, to help this person and to help them heal. So I learned during that time, that I didn't know my own strength, for sure.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's good. That's good.
Yeah.
And you know what? And we get strength from our loved ones, watching them fight, watching them
Absolutely.
push, watching their faith get activated, and watching them persevere through this illness and this diagnosis that they get.
Absolutely.
So I know that you also have a Facebook group, right?
I have a Facebook group that I started after my mother passed away, called A Mother's Love Never Dies. This group is for people, like ourselves, who have lost our mothers, who it's just a private space where you could just let it go. When you have not felt that type of loss, it's nothing that compares to it. I have a friend who's a widow, and she says all the time, she can't compare the loss of her mother to the loss of her husband. It's 2 different types of pain that you feel. Of course, there's the stages of grief, but the levels of pain is just so different. So the page is, again, listening to God. I had all this grief that I was carrying, and people mean well and they say things, but they really didn't understand. And I was leaving church one day, and I just asked the Lord to please help me figure out what I am going to do. Help me to do something with all of this that I'm feeling. And he literally at that moment gave me the vision for A Mother's Love Never Dies. I at that time, I was my friend of mine lived around the corner from my church. I went to her house. I said, give me your laptop. I gotta do something. Give me your laptop.
Wow.
And I literally created the page. It is over. Wow. I mean, the membership is blown away, has gone away. So we do, we have a therapist connected to the page. We have, we encourage each other. We support one another. If you're having a bad day, if you're having a good day, that is the place to leave it. So it's a private group. Again, it's called A Mother's Love Never Dies. It's on Facebook. Anyone knows of someone, or if they have felt the loss of their mothers as well, please join the page. I will accept you. There's a couple of questions you need to answer, so please answer those. But we share pictures, we share funny stories, we share recipes.
Wow.
We share, you know how your parents have those quotes, your mother always has those little quick liners. We share those. And we just, you know, we support one another in this journey of grief, in this journey of loss. This
Wow.
new normal, as I like
really
to say.
That's really good.
Yeah.
So
Thank you.
I wanted to bring that up because I knew that you told me about it, and I do know that people do need that support. And like you said, when you lose your mom, you feel like an orphan, especially when you lose both parents. When I lost both of my parents, I said, I'm an orphan now.
Right.
Said, so when you go to fill those forms out, that's when the reality hits, you know? And
yes.
So I like the fact that y'all are sharing pictures and stories, because we need to keep people alive. Today is the anniversary of my brother's death, and I shared stuff with him.
Sorry for your loss.
Yeah, I shared, you know, it was his birthday, not the anniversary, I'm sorry, it was his birthday. And I shared pictures, and some of his old friends, they commented on it. It's important, Dee, that we keep our loved ones' memory alive, you know? So now, on that note, I want to switch back to Sippin' Tea with Dee here on Instagram. I know you also do it on YouTube, right? Do you have a YouTube channel also?
I have a YouTube channel. The YouTube channel, I'm going to be a little bit more committed to that, because I really feel like, you know, it'll allow me to reach some other people. But I do have a YouTube channel, so please subscribe, share. I have a couple of videos on there. My audio podcast is on anchor.fm, Spotify, Apple, wherever you get your podcast. So there are some great stories of triumph on there from some phenomenal women. One of the things I love about being a podcast host is the people that you meet. And some people, what I always find interesting when I approach people about sharing their stories, they don't even realize the importance of their journey. They don't realize how important their story is and how it can bless someone else. And I'm always surprised at how shocked and surprised they are with why I would want to interview them, or that their story matters. So I really feel like that is my job. That is my journey. Now, I do have a background in journalism. In the 90s, I worked in New York. I interned for Eddie Murphy's publicist at that time.
Nice.
Williams. I worked for a magazine. I worked for Executive Female, which was a business magazine for women. I worked for them for a while. I worked for another magazine in southeastern region called Attitudes Magazine. I mean, like this. So this was my thing. This was my background. So
wow.
A lot of people didn't even know that I had a journalism background. I mean, when I was in college, I was an editor of a newspaper. So I've always, you know, had my focus on working in journalism. Recently, I have been blessed to be mentored and trained by the greatest motivational speaker in the world, Mr. Les Brown. So I've been doing some things with him. I just did a virtual summit back in April, and I'll be doing some other things. I'm working on a Sippin' Tea with D book, sharing more stories of triumph of women. So I'm really trying to get out this message that Black women are powerful, that we're strong, that we're resilient, that we are more than booty shaking, twerking. Nothing
Wow.
wrong with nothing. I'm not saying anything's wrong with that. I twerk a little bit too, but we are more than that. We are more than arguing with one another. We are more than putting each other down, backbiting. We are supporting one another. We are encouraging one another. And we are really uplifting one another. You know, my circle of women friends, you know, we're powerful in our own right. And we support each other in our endeavors. And that's what I want people to know. That's what I want people to see. And that's why Sippin' Tea with D, and that's sipping without the G, guys, is Sippin' Tea with D is about positivity. I'm sipping on nothing but positivity. Even if I discuss a trending topic or issue, I always end it with suggestions, with some sort of resource. I never want to leave people thinking that a situation is just about badgering. You know, I really feel that situation, you know, that we, especially we as African American women, it's important for people to see us in our best light, you know,
That's true. That's very
because
true.
we're judged so harshly.
Yes. Now let me ask you this: as a podcaster, what would you like to see different? There's a lot of podcasts out here now. There's a
Yes.
lot of people out here, and I know you take it serious with your journalism background and everything going on. What would you like to see different out here with all these podcasters out here?
I would like people to understand that because, you know, I'm glad you, because I do have a journalism background, I understand that when you're putting out information, there is a certain level of responsibility that you have. And that's what I want people to understand. You're just, you know, a lot of people are not trained, and because of social media, people feel like they can just get in front of a camera and say whatever they want to. But there's a level of responsibility that comes with what we put out there. There's a level of responsibility with the information that we share, and in the way in which we share that information. So I want people to take a step back and really understand and really examine and take responsibility for the types of things that they put out in the universe. You know, what we put out here and what we feed to people, you know, is really important. It's not always about entertainment. We can entertain, enlighten, and share and do all these wonderful things at one time. It does not always have to be in a negative space.
I love it. I love it. And now, supporting one another. Well, how do you feel about the support level of podcasters? Do you feel as though it's very competitive, or do you feel as though there's enough support amongst podcasters out on IG and social media?
Well, IG is a very interesting space because, especially during the pandemic, so many people just, you know, started to get on lives out of loneliness, to connect with other people. So I don't really think that they initially set out to be a podcaster.
Right.
I think some people just kind of fell into that. But I do feel that some of the spaces that I've seen can be very positive. Some can be very encouraging. I mean, I've met great people like you. There's a couple of other women that I've met, a couple of men that I've met here on IG that I really have made connection with, and that, you know, that I feel that we all support one another. But then there was that ugly side as well.
Come
You
on
know,
now.
there's always a yin to the yang, you know, and there was that ugly side where people were just spewing out information. I felt like some people found it, allowed it to be a platform where they can be mean, you know, where it became uh, a sounding board for whatever issues they were struggling with or whatever it is that they were going through. And they weren't using it in a responsible way. And I personally have blocked a lot of those people,
Wow.
because I feel like, you know, like anything I do in life, you know, I want to create a environment where there's positivity going on. Now, don't get me wrong. there are people that I have listened to, that I have followed, that don't stand for or represent the same things that I do.
Right,
And
right.
I use that as learning points.
That's right.
However, if it becomes too negative and it doesn't sit well with my spirit, I won't partake in it.
I'm glad you said that. That because coming from a person who has that background in journalism, that's what we do. You do get people who won't have the same views as you, and you do talk to them and you do bring them on,
Yes,
like you said, and that's where those disclaimers come in, and you let people know the views of those people are not necessarily your views, but you're interviewing them.
absolutely.
But at the same time, I like what you said about keeping it positive, no matter what, always keeping it positive. So now, your mission, what makes Sippin' Tea with D different for those who've never been on your podcast? Remind them when you do come on, and remind them what can they get when they come and they hear your guests and they hear your topic. What's going to be different when they come and they listen to Sippin' Tea with D segment?
Well, one of the things is most certainly you won't see any arguing. You won't see people degrading or pulling down one another. You're going to get exactly what I said, sipping on nothing but positivity. You're going to see adult dialogue taking place with real issues. I like to say on Sippin' Tea with D, in particular on Tea Time, which comes every Tuesday at 7:30 Eastern Time right here on IG. I like to say that we have conversations, real talk, real discussion on real issues. And we talk about those issues in a very open space. I am open to all perspectives on any issue. The only thing that I ask is that we respect one another in those discussions. As adults, we don't have to argue. We know how to communicate. We don't have to, because I don't agree with your point of view, doesn't mean that I have to tear you down. Because even if I don't agree with your point of view, it may be something that I can learn from that. You may present a perspective I've never even thought of. So I think it's important, and I think what people will see is that people are respecting one another. They're listening to one another. They're learning, and they hear a lot of truth telling.
Yes,
I am
yes,
very, very open in my
yes,
topics. I've gone through a separation, a divorce,
yes.
depression, and I've shared all of that on my podcast. And I've given that information, and I've discussed what it was that I was going through. And I've been allowed myself to be vulnerable with my followers and with my guests, and just really allowing myself to have conversations that not only is it helping me to share, but it's also giving someone else or letting someone else know that they may not be alone in the struggle that they're having as well.
I love that. I love that. And also, I noticed on your platform, people agree to disagree. Like you said, they don't argue, they listen, they respect one another, and that's good. So if somebody's learning about you for the first time, how can they contact you, and what kind of new interviewees are you looking for? Are you looking for people and tell them what they need to have? Do they have to have a particular story, or what is it they need to do to become a guest on Sippin' Tea with You?
Okay, so for the audio podcast, I am looking for women with stories of any type of tribulation they've gone through, any type of trial that they were able to overcome. And I don't care whether it is, I talk about divorce, I talk about separation, sexual assault. I've talked about, I've talked about anxiety. I've talked about sibling rivalry. I've talked about being your sister's keeper, mommy's boys, all types of things. So, women that you have any type of story that you want. I've had people battling diseases, mothers who've lost their children that have come on. So if you have a story of trial and triumph, please go to my website at www.sippintea sippinteawithdee.com, and that's sippin without the G. There's a form on there. You can complete it. Tell me a little bit about your story. It'll come directly to my email, and I will reach out to you after I review it. And, we could talk about, have a production meeting and figure out how your story fits into my platform. I'm also, as I said, I'm writing a book on Sippin' Tea with D. I'm looking for 10 women to share their stories. So if you would like to be a part of, this book, this anthology of women who, again, have been able to trial and triumph and this soar, get over these issues, because what I want to show people is that no matter what we go through, we can overcome it. So please, if you have a story like that, please reach out to me. And that's at sippinteawithdee.com. Or you can simply DM me. So anyone, if you are that person, or if you know a woman that has a story that, that you can't, was she a teenage mother and then she's out here a boss now, an entrepreneur, something, whatever it is, send them my way. I would love to share their story. I'm right now for Tea Time, which is every Tuesday. I talk about trending topics. So, anything that's going on, anything that I, as a woman, right now, I'm newly divorced. So I'm a mature woman now, back out in the dating scene. So, that's something that I'm looking at as well, how to share that, because it's definitely a new world, a new space. I'm different. So, I talk about things like that. I talk about relationships. I talk about things we go through as women. So anything that you want to share or come through, please, every Tuesday, 7:30 p.m. Eastern time, right here on IG.
So let me ask you a question. I know you have a very transparent platform. Anything off limits to you? Anything off limits? Any topics of any sort?
I don't get very explicit about my sexual life. And I had someone try to draw me in and pull me into that. I don't even do that when I'm on other platforms. That is off limits for sure.
Okay, so and you know what? Everybody.
And when I say my sexual life, I'm talking about being really explicit. Like I'm not going to share that.
Okay. So you talked about dating. You think you might do some matchmaking in the future?
I've thought about that. I've thought about more so matchmaking for myself. Doing some online interviews. This dating space is very new and interesting. It can present some excitement as well as some challenges.
But, yes, it can.
Yeah, but yes, especially being, I'm 53. And, what I wanted at 23 is totally different. My expectations are totally different. So it's an interesting space to be in.
That's really, really good. Who did you idolize as a child? Did you see yourself doing this? And who did you look up to when you started setting this up? I know you listen to Les Brown, but who else did you look up to?
It's so funny that you say that, because I've always been... even growing up, I was always recognized for my articulation and the way that I spoke. However, I did not look at it as a gift. I didn't even look at it as a possibility of something that I could do. I sang. So I used to sing and perform. So I kind of saw myself more so in that arena. It wasn't until college that, when people would literally come into my bedroom in college, in my dorm room, to see the poetry that I had written and stuck on the wall, on the mirrors in my room. And that's when I realized that I literally had a gift. And the funny thing is, I dropped out of college and started to look at this gift seriously. So I literally had my first internship in media, and I wasn't even a college student. I had literally, pursued it. I became serious about it after I left school, and then later on I went back to school.
So you're a poet too. Now I see, hey Patricia,
Well,
Patricia made a comment down there that yes, it's true about the dating scene. It's definitely, and it's not really a lot for the 50 and above. I mean, people mention it and people do interview, but it's a little bit different because I think they like to be a little bit more reserved. So
yes. I mean, I don't, I own my, my sexiness or whatever, my femininity. And I don't even have a problem with going younger. And when I say younger, I mean, like, I wouldn't go any more than 4 years younger than I am, but, or maybe 48, 49,
okay,
but
okay.
yeah, I wouldn't mind.
Okay, it's
But
nothing wrong with some excitement.
yes, exactly. But you gotta, and then, there was a lot of discussion, and I see this even on IG. There's a lot of discussion that, women over 40, 50, that we can't provide, have conditions, and, it's kind of a negative, but I really want us to turn that into a positive, because I don't believe that. I get hit on all the time. Now, whether or not I'm responsive to it is another thing. And I'm sure other women my age, do that. It's the same thing. It's just about what you're looking for. It's not always about just talking to anyone that says anything to you or engaging with anyone, but I am open to someone even younger than me. I don't have a problem with that.
So let me ask you this. Right now, what's the hot topic that you're going to be discussing next Tuesday?
Next week, you said?
Yes, because this week, well, today, what was the hot topic for you this week?
No, yesterday, I just had a moment where I said, I am sick of people. And it wasn't even originally what my topic was. And I'm sure you can attest to this. Sometimes you get on, you have one topic, and your guest will take your topic like to a whole nother level. So yesterday, my conversation I was originally talking about, I'm sick of people, and when I said I was sick of people, I was referring to some situations that I had seen at work where people were being negative and, trying to, stop other people from growing in their careers and things like that. And I was just tired of seeing that type of behavior in that space. And then my conversation went to a whole nother level when my guests came on. We started talking about life lessons, male and female relationships, how trauma can impact our relationships. I mean, it went to a whole nother direction, but it was a positive direction. I talked about my anxiety. Then I had someone ask me, what are the things that I do to combat my anxiety? I battled with anxiety since I was 19. So I shared some tips on that. So it was just really, really interesting how the conversation went somewhere else. But it was, and we even talked a little bit about religion, and we talked about the Bible a little bit. And then we talked about, how we can serve one another and mankind, whether we're black, white, green, yellow, or purple. And this is the beauty of IG and doing lives, because you can have these conversations that can enlighten and bring so much insight in areas that you never even thought about. So I really, next week, I'm intending to talk about being biracial in America, being black and biracial.
I love it.
Yeah, so we'll see how that goes.
So you're talking about some life situations that are important, decisions that people have to make, things that people are having to deal with that are life altering. I love that. Because like Absolutely. A lot of people right now, a lot of people went to like Lori Harvey and Jordan. People are talking about, I'm going to call it the juicy gossip. You know what I mean?
Right.
So you and I, we stay away from the gossip.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? We
yes.
deal with life circumstances and
Absolutely.
real life situations. That's the difference. It's nothing wrong with the juicy stuff. Every now and then.
It's not. And if I'm if I talk about the juicy gossip, I'm gonna find something specific in there. Like I remember when the big slap happened.
Oh,
And
yeah, yes.
I talked about the slap, but I didn't just talk about the slap and what could have happened to this person's career. I wanted to talk about the meaning behind that, what we really saw.
Yes.
You know,
Yes.
what the meaning of a slap is. And I mean, like, I wanted to go a lot deeper.
Yes.
So this is where sometimes my journalism comes in, my hidden journalist comes out, because I've been trained to look at things from different perspectives, and that's what I try to attempt to do with the podcast.
And so I don't want to step on nobody's toes, but I'm going to say, and I understand because I do some things with newspaper, radio too. That's where the professionalism comes in. I'm going to use that word. Not to say others are not professional.
Absolutely.
Because there are a lot of professionals, but that's just where that just is on the forefront, you know.
But see, the blessing in IG is that and these lives, it gives people the opportunity to do exactly what we're doing, you know. And I think that's the blessing in it, whether they are trained or not. It's like with anything. When you have training, it gives you a little edge. It gives you a little different perspective or insight. But I think that it's wonderful that there are so many people talking and speaking. I mean, I've talked about depression. I've talked about mental illness. You know, even some of that came up last night. So these are things that we need to discuss. These are things that we need to be having conversations about.
Yes, I know. And just like with the slap, I had a guest come on who had alopecia. She was an alopecia, and she was actually a beauty queen with alopecia. So I know what you mean. So let me ask you this. And I apologize if you hear that band. There's a band playing in the next room. I don't know how loud it is for you, but I hear it coming loud.
No, I actually can't hear it.
Okay, great. So anything that you want the people to know, I know you talk about your book. I know you talk about the podcast. You talk about a lot of things. And what we're going to do, ladies and gentlemen, if you just came in, this is Sippin' Tea with D. We are highlighting podcasters, especially those who have a positive influence, okay? Everybody out here has some type of influence, but Dee has a mission. She understands the assignment. You know, there was this thing out on TikTok. I understand the assignment. Dee, what is your assignment?
My assignment is to show African American women in the best positive light. That is my assignment. So in 2013, when I heard that whisper in my ear and I got that call from God and he told me to do what I'm doing, that is what he told me that was my assignment from the very beginning.
Wow. So ladies and gentlemen, if you're not following Sippin' Tea with D, make sure you do. If you are not her friend on Facebook, on all her platforms, I do believe, now correct me if I'm on all platforms, Sippin' Tea with D?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right, so look her up, man. Follow and support, because she's on a positive mission to impact you and to bring you resources and information that is really going to help. Now, Dee, anything that we didn't discuss that you would like to tell the people about, anything you have coming up, or just any topic at all?
Yes, I certainly do. On Friday, it is my second podversary. So I'm going to come on, possibly have some previous guests on with me, but I am so excited that this is year 2 of, you know, what has taken me it took me 7 years to get off the ground. So I just feel blessed. I just feel more charged to do more things. Like I told you, I'm working on the book. Thank you. So I am just really excited about things to come. I'm also doing some other things with my Les Brown crew that are going to be coming up. So I'm going to keep people posted about that. You're going to be seeing more of me visually on different platforms, on different mediums, more like live streaming, more, Roku, more Apple TV, things like that. So I'm really like really working to go in another direction.
Yes.
And I'm just really, really excited about all that I mean, all of this has been a learning experience. Someone told me from the very beginning that I couldn't do certain things because I didn't have 10,000 followers. But let me tell you, I've gotten a letter from an email maybe 8 months ago from Jada Pinkett Smith, something very brief about my page and what I'm doing. I got Tiffany Haddish. Someone told me on Clubhouse that Tiffany Haddish was following me on Instagram.
Wow.
I didn't even know. I did talk to her in a Clubhouse room. For those of you that have ever used the Clubhouse app, and we had a discussion there, so I was really honored about that. And then, of course, you know, my mentor, Uncle Les Brown, you know, to be working with him, like these are all like unbelievable things. So I just want to say that you do not have to be the biggest horse in the room to be chosen. You can be the little pebble in the shoe. All right.
That's right. That's right.
So
Walking in faith.
don't be discouraged. Exactly. Don't be discouraged. Because I would not have had those opportunities, those small blessings, I shouldn't even say small, those blessings, period, had I not been doing what I'm doing. And each time it has motivated me and encouraged me to do more. So I just want to say to anyone, don't let anyone tell you what you can't do. I'm looking to do some partnerships. Those who watch my show, I currently have a Goalie Gummy partnership. So guys, if you order Goalie Gummies, please use the Sippin Tea with D promo code, Sippin Tea with D. That's Sippin without the G. Make sure you use that if you order Goalie Gummies. And also, I'm looking to have, I'm a plus size woman. I love clothes. I talk about designers all the time. I wear different designers' clothes. And I do give them shout outs. So I'm looking to start a partnership with, you know, a plus size organization that, you know, just to show off their fashion.
I have somebody for you on that too.
Oh,
so let's talk about some of those partnerships, and I want to talk to you about your book and a couple of things, so we'll talk offline. So listen, I just want to thank you, man. You are so powerful, and I know that people that come in this room is going to get noisy in here, so I'm going to try to bring this to a close, but you are amazing. And so it's not a surprise to me that all those doors are opening, you know. You walk in confidence, you know exactly what you're doing, you're intentional, you know, and you just, you have it. You know what I'm saying? Some people have it and some people don't. You know how they say some people have it and some people don't. Well, you have it, you know. And you're humble. You're humble. And so I see great things happening for you in the future. And I get ready, because it's happening. It's coming. It's coming. I mean, next year is going to be a powerful year for you. I already see it. So
well, thank you so much.
I'm just thankful to have met you now, so I can say I knew her then.
Oh no, I mean? Look, you can say, we're gonna continue collaborations like this. I'm a strong believer in this. And I just want to say to you, I love what you do. I love your genuine spirit. I love your candor. I just feel that, you know, you have it, you know, and you have it naturally. And I just love the way that you are just yourself. Like you just are just all crystal, and it really shines through. And I love watching you and listening to you, and you keep doing what you do as well, sis, because we're going to be looking at each other at the top. We're going to be shaking hands at the top for sure.
Oh yeah, I claim it, I receive it, and believe it for both of us, definitely. So listen, man, as we bring this to a close, are there any closing comments that you would like to make to the people? And I just want to say thank you to everybody who came through here. I know that we will hear more from Sippin Tea with D, and I look forward to collaborating with you. I really do, about that book.
Oh, definitely.
You know. So any closing comments you'd like to tell the people?
Well, I just wanted to answer. Someone in the comments asked, was the code Sippin Tea with D? And yes, it is. So please make sure that you use that code when you order your Goalie Gummies. And the only thing that I wanted to say is, you know, be intentional about who you are and what you want to do. You know, when you're walking down the street and you see another sister, tell her she looks good. Don't be afraid to compliment one another,
Come on now.
support one another, encourage one another. You know, don't look at another woman as your competition. Look
That's
at
right.
that woman as your sister, as your friend. You don't have to know her, but I bet you if the two of you got together, you could share stories. You
Yes.
could talk about things that you struggle with. So
Yes.
I just want to encourage everyone to, especially women, because women, we have a thing about not, you know, not looking out for one another, always feeling threatened by another person. But be that person that sows into another individual. Be
Yes.
that person that gives them a compliment or and allow God to use you, because you never know what can come out of it. If I did not allow God to use me and direct me, you wouldn't be looking at me right now. It took me 7 years to listen,
Woo!
but I did it.
That's right. Well, you know what? You are one of the chosen ones. Many are few, you know, and you're chosen. You know, few are
Thank
chosen.
you.
Now, I want to shout out those in here. There's another great person out here, Dr. Jonica Rowland. We do a collaboration as well. I want to shout her out. I saw Burns
Yes.
Closet in here. I see Joyful Connections, Life Coach in here. Great people. Follow one another. Like, if you up in here, like, here's what I want you to do. If you come into these particular rooms, not just following the people that are speaking, but look at who's in the room, because, you know, birds of a feather flock together. And a lot of times you'll find good people in those rooms under those people, right? You want to be careful whose room you go in, but when you go in
Yeah.
the room for the people that's doing positive things, 9 times out of 10, it's positive people in that room too. So just do that. Follow those people. Guys, I want to thank y'all for coming through here. Before my party leaves, I gotta go in here before they leave. They're gonna be like, Crystal left us for a whole hour. I said, look, I came, I drove, I'm here, but I had 2 things to do. You know how, like, you want to make sure you do
That's right.
you,
You got to
but
multitask.
I had to do both, man. I had to get it in there. But you blessed the people today, and I just thank you for that. I appreciate you.
Well, thank you for
your
having
patience.
me.
Yes,
I
ma'am.
feel so honored, Crystal. Really. Thank you for having me.
And we'll do more. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you for popping in. If you just came in, please, please, please go back, do the replay, share this. We're going to put some links in here for you for all of her pages that she told you about. All her information will be in the post. We'll share it on our pages so you can go back and hear it, okay? And we want to say God bless you. Remember, my name is Crystal Bodie Smith. You've been listening to Sippin' Tea with D. Make sure you go back and follow her on Facebook for the group that she has for the people who've lost their
Look
moms.
for the pink.
Yes. You see, I love the logo. I love it. Listen,
Thank you.
make sure y'all follow one another. Encourage one another. You heard what she said. We have to uplift each other. That's what we're here to do. All right. I want to say thank you so much. Be on the lookout for the next story time on Sunday, and just let's do this, man. Let's be here for one another.
Yes.
Let's be that shining light. You know, my mission is to stir up the gift, instill hope, and save lives. And I say keep hope alive. You know, I like to recycle hope over and over again. And that's what Dee's doing. We're all recycling hope. We're all catalysts for hope. You know what I'm saying? So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much. God bless you, Dee. Thank you again for everything
Thank
you
you,
do.
Crystal.
Thank you for everybody who came through here tonight. And God bless you all. Be safe out there. Be healthy out there. And let's support one another. If you don't have nothing positive to say, don't say nothing at all. That's all I'm saying. Nothing at all. Just pass by. Don't say nothing if you can't say nothing positive, okay? Let's be each other's keeper. Period. That's it. Regardless. And don't be judging one another. It's not about that. I love you guys. Take it easy. Have an amazing evening. God bless you. And I'll see you on the next segment of Story Time. D, have an amazing evening. Thank you, everybody, for popping.
Thank you, Crystal.
All right.
Blessings
Bye-bye.
in
God
you.
bless you all.
Peace.
Thank you.